How to get an SBA 7A loan alternative up to 5 million incredibly fast without collateral, no hard credit checks, bad credit is acceptable, and so much more, such as the ERC tax program, grant opportunities, EIDL updates, PPP, and a bit more. Hi, this is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions, and we are streaming live right now on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching right now, please give me a hashtag live in the comments or hashtag replay if you'll be watching later on. Let me get right into things. Happy Monday and welcome. I'm happy to see all of you in here and know that perhaps you had a great weekend. If not, perhaps your day has started great and it's on the right foot and you will continue to progress throughout the week. Now, aside from that, I want to jump into this topic of, hey, I did not qualify for an SBA 7A loan where you are looking to get up to 5 million, you're looking to get up to a 10-year working capital amortization, repayment schedule, the remittance. Perhaps you didn't have the right or sufficient amount of collateral or enough cash flow, liquidity, equity, these things at closing or in the beginning, and you don't have a grade 2 excellent credit. You are not profitable for the last 2+ years. You do not have the right documentation. You are missing out on having the right type of business credit established, maybe not the right type of collateral, like I just mentioned earlier. And then there's more that goes into that SBA 7A, working capital, real estate. There's also 504 programs with the CDC and quite a bit more. And I've made content on the SBA 7A program in case you're wondering what that is. Perhaps you've missed out on it. Look to it down below in the description, where I'll link you to content on the SBA 7A loan where I walk you through it diligently in understanding what it is, qualifications, how it works, what documentation you will need to supply to me so that I can forward it over to the lender, and how much of a process it actually takes. I have quite a few people right now who are going back and forth with, I've told you, this is the documentation that I'm requesting. Can you get it done for me? And before you've even said yes to it. So when I speak with you as a business owner and you get approved for an SBA loan or you have the qualifications for it, the next part of it is, will you be able to take the time and patiently submit to me the documentation that I am requesting? If not, why even begin this route? So I just wanted to make that very clear. I have a lot of business owners who are still like fumbling it and intercepting this, and they're still not, like, days pass by, they want to jump on this, but then they don't jump on it. Just be very upfront with me and I'll be the same with you. Now, if you qualify for it or not, there may be other options that are available with lower documentation, which is what we'll spend some time on today. And welcome in bad credit. I'll help you on that. I'll talk about it in a moment. I also made content on this that I'll link you guys to down below in the description if it's there. Right now it isn't because I didn't set up the description. This is a spontaneous live. Now, the SBA 7A loan, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about what that is, how it works. That's why I said there's other content down below if you haven't checked that out. As I just mentioned, Cedric, that I do not have the description together at this moment. I just got on StreamYard. I put the title together. Let's go live. And so once this is uploaded, I will have the description fully put together. I usually put the description beforehand, just so you guys know this. I'm not disorganized. I usually have it up, but I wanted to make sure this video was there. But what I will do in a moment is show you guys the process of getting up to 5 million fast working capital, however you need to use the funding, because the SBA 7A won't approve you. Not even the community advantage, not even the microloan programs, whether you're a startup or newly established business, you've had business experience in the past and you're trying to get this other program running, the 504 won't work for you. You're looking for owner-occupied commercial real estate and that's not the case, or you don't have enough to put down on this. You're worried about this circumstance. You're taking just far too long is what I see as a pattern right now. But for those of you who have said, yeah, I'm willing to be patient, I will submit to you this information. But then there's others who just kind of go AWOL. I only have so much energy and time in the day. So if I take time to help you, it's because I'm investing that. And think about it as an investment with a relationship. In your business, you take a relationship ROI, return on that investment. So initially, I'm helping you with all of that. and your financial gain return on your investment is the opposite. It's a bit different. So please be considerate, as I am for you. But I'm going to spend a little bit of time now going away from the SBA 7A loan program and speak about what these other alternatives are. You are welcome. So you have faster funding services out there, and I'm going to jump from level to level here. And I have each of these individual services that I'll link you to in time again once the description is together after this video is uploaded right away when we're done here on the live. But you have other options with faster capital where you don't have to offer up collateral. You don't have to put in any kind of hard credit checks. It's a soft pull. Bad credit, that is acceptable, even good, great to excellent credit. And the boundaries to getting unsecured financing, I'll put this out there, you're looking at more of a medium to higher rate. Dun, dun, dun. Now, for those of you battling this whole friction rate, it's not a residential mortgage. It's not a residential type of funding. If we're looking at getting any type of a home mortgage of a 30-year amortization, remittance, prepayment schedule, that's not what you're getting with business financing. This is commercial lending. This is not residential. This isn't real estate. So in some circumstances with real estate through the SBA, you can get up to 25 years. You're not going to be looking at about 30 years. But what are your circumstances? What do you bring to the table? So for those of you who are thinking I should get a 30-year amortization repayment, it doesn't work that way. It's not a home mortgage. What this is funding that is, whether it's secured or unsecured, the lender is assuming the risk. The SBA, the banks. So there's different tiers to every single level of funding. And so if the lender is looking at giving you money that they have in their hands and they're saying, Sally, you just take too long, bye. They'll do that. They'll say, you're taking forever. The lender starts getting cold feet because they look at you and they say they're not serious. They're just shopping around too much. There's people right now who I help and I try and I go, hey, you've been in bad standing with these people. You've tried applying time and time again through them. If not them, another lender or another 2 to 3, they're looking at your file and going, what the heck is this person doing? Because nobody ever educates you on how to go and apply. This is why you just don't apply anywhere and everywhere. So the lender is then saying, why am I having this friction? Why is there so much tug of war? Didn't they need funding? They obviously don't know what they're doing. That's what they're thinking. And I'm not going to wrong them. You don't know what you're doing. And at that point, you should already know. I'll educate you before you even start the application process. But if you're at this point tuggling, maybe there's something you're not telling me, and I'm just spending energy and time wastefully trying to figure something out because there's something you're hiding or there's something that I don't know about, which I get. You can't always be upfront. And you don't feel honest or you don't feel like you can tell everybody that information. I get that. But at the same time, why are we doing this? And so understand that if the lender is going to give you money without collateral, they're taking on 100, 120, 100,000% of the risk. You're already coming into this as a high risk. Now, it's a question of if you're a higher risk, they're lending you money. You guys not see that? Like, it's not a banking institution. They're giving you money of their own. They're taking a risk on you based off of a couple things. If it's not secured with collateral, they're looking at no collateral. They're looking at just pure cash flow. What's your business doing revenue-wise per month? What's it doing per year gross? If we have to look deeper into collateralized funding programs like the SBA where you don't necessarily need collateral, we just want to see what your assets and liabilities are, what you bring to the table. But then first of all, we look at cash flow like any other program. So when we're looking at unsecured financing options like unsecured term loans of 1 to 2, sometimes 1 to 3, sometimes 1 to 5, in this market, don't go out there thinking I need to get 3 to 5 years and don't get it because that's what the market is speaking to. Now, if you're a bankable client, we can try with an online bank term loan if you have the qualifications, if you have everything you need to do. But if you're complaining that I'm getting only 3 to 11 months, I'm only getting 1 to 2, 1 to 3 years, what do you have to think about? How do you have to reset if you've had this 7 to 10, 20 plus year, 30-year business loan in mind. If you're saying to yourself, I need to rethink how I'm going to use these funds, what actual return on my investment activity wise, non financially, those relationships, those consumers, my clients, my employees, those activities I do every single day as a business owner that I can. And then what is my financial return on my investment? And think about what you're doing, because not a lot of you will get 3, 4, 5+ years, get approved for those. This just doesn't happen a lot in this market. Or if you don't qualify for an express loan or an SBA standard 7A loan, it's okay. So let's go back to the unsecured financing options. Excuse me if I went too much on a tangent. You have unsecured term loans, usually between 1 to 2, 1 to 3, sometimes 2 to 10, but that's an extent. When we're going that far beyond, the lender's going to ask for collateral in a lot of cases. They're going to put a lien on your home. They're going to ask for extra property. They're going to take more equity. Boom. Are you wanting to put yourself in that position? You might be taking too much of a risk, or you may be that individual who goes, yeah, I can do that. It's fine. Or it doesn't give me enough control. Or 3, it's not the right type of collateral that I want to give up. I want it to be invoices. So I have more control. Inventory, how much? Equipment, what type of equipment? Is it downgrading or is it going up? What's the market speaking to? So you have those unsecured term loans of 1 to 2, sometimes 1 to 3 years, because the banks aren't lending as much, and you're going to see that pattern coming in next year, even with the interest rates rising right now to about 6.25%. And so if the banks won't lend as much, maybe that criteria will change next year, where we don't just give you between 1 to 2 years. Maybe you're qualified to get more on the natural curve of 3 years, 3 to 4 years. But until you come to the table, let's say if you're looking for 1 to 2 years, one example of that is you're doing $25,000 in deposits per month, a 660, if not 680 and above plus FICO, or 300,000 in annual gross sales to the 25,000. No bankruptcies, no foreclosures, no liens in the last 3 years, 2+ years time in business. And even at that point, to get that type of 1 to 2 monthly repayment, it doesn't always make sense. Maybe there's some fluctuation with credit. Maybe there's something we cannot verify. Maybe we're just having trouble trying to connect something. And it doesn't always make sense for you to take that, because the total cost of financing would be much more expensive as opposed to another format. So now you're paying more towards the interest, principal and interest even more. They may not have you, and when you sign the contracts, there may be a prepayment penalty with these. Not all of them, but for the most part, you'll see that. And then, okay, well, I have to take this throughout the duration. Now you're paying an additional 20 to 50 to 100,000 on interest. And I see that a lot of times. I see it underneath 20, underneath 10, but in a lot of cases, it's quite a bit. So you have to rethink that. And now there's another solution out there where you're looking at a merchant cash advance. There's hybrid cash advances that go up to 2 million, up to 5 million. The general terms of a cash advance, it's evolved, but it is around 3 to 11 months. Now, you can also get between 4 to 24 months. You can even get 4 to 36 months with certain lenders that I know. And certain lenders have a monthly repayment, not all, but in this space, you're seeing a daily/weekly repayment. And to be quite honest, a lot of business owners, no matter if you're doing a lot in revenue per month, doesn't necessarily mean you should take on a monthly repayment. You want another huge lump sum that may fluctuate, may not be, it may be variable. You're already paying 10 to 20,000 off with credit cards. You have rent and another 15 to 20,000, however many properties or whatever it is you're paying towards that. So a big $50,000 a month monthly repayment, you think that's justifiable? As opposed to saying, I have a weekly repayment I can start off with, work with it, and then if later on down the road, if you get your details up, we can go, hey, let's look at this as a monthly situation, or hey, the weekly makes most sense. What you're doing makes most sense to start with this. And with the lender, with the flexibility you're getting, the amount you're getting, the terms, the rates, you have to look at it overall, encompassing it, not just, I want a monthly repayment, I want 30 years. It isn't that. It's not about the interest rates. It is about the benefit exceeding your repayment. What does your repayability look like? What is the benefit of these funds? What's in the middle? I can't do it. Cash flow negative. I'm going backwards. That's where I'll be in 2 to 3 months or so. Up here, I'm taking this funding and I'm multiplying by a factor of 2, 3, 4 my gross profits, my gross margins every single month to month, or whenever that happens. What is my overall yearly gross profits? What are my costs of goods sold? What does it cost for me to do business? What are my expenses? If we're looking at tax return, because you're asking for a certain amount, what may be my profitability, if that's such a factor or not? We just want to make sure we see everything. So you have these merchant cash advances. They can go between 4 to 24. I've even seen 4 to 36 months in some cases. That's not always a given. But what you should be thinking about is, I wanted 150,000, Michael. Well, I'm only going to get 10 to 15% of my annual gross sales / revenue for the most part. You're not going to even touch 150,000 with a lump sum unsecured financing with what you're doing month to month. If you have any revenue, you're doing 20,000 on average a month. On your lowest, you're doing 15,000. Well, we might be able to get you between 7,500 or so to 30,000, but that also varies because of your average daily bank balances, your number of deposits, fluctuations, if anything. What's your credit score? But revenue is much more of a factor than credit is with these programs. But because you're not in a certain category with credit, or we see you doing this, we know where you're going to be. We see your patterns. We're hesitant to give you more funding. The market, your industry. I have business owners who could be qualifying for 15 months of certain ones, but they're getting about 11 to 10 months. Why? Because of the market, because you're new, because we see something in your past. So what do? You prove your worthiness. You bow down if you have to and say, I understand. I have to start somewhere, and let it go and get started. No friction. When I'm bringing to you something to the table, I have the best lender. I have the best underwriters looking after this. I have your back ultimately, personally, and in business. Just know that. It's 110%. If you communicate with me in any part of the process, I'll take care of you. But if you're doing this, you're still shopping around, which you shouldn't be doing at that point, opening up more applications. You don't even know who you're applying to. You're just applying the spray and pray method, but you don't even know if you're applying to an A tier, B tier, C tier. You may know that, but they're going to look at your file and go, we may not even get you what you want. We see this is out here. They're going to try to match it. You're going to be thinking, okay, now I have to that match, or I didn't receive anything. Now you're going to be doing this tug of war. You're going to be thinking, I'm going to take what I can get because I'm tired of freaking getting these emails over and over again. And don't come talk to me about that. You can. I'm kidding. You can talk to me about it. I'm always here. I'm always open. My doors are always open. But what I want to tell you, I'm really praying for you, because I get it too. I have a lot of emails from people who I don't even know who they are. I didn't even apply with them, but because of trigger leads, people gathering that information from the credit bureaus, then they try to contact you. I had a business owner the other day. I'm like, well, I just had to pick something. Wow. And I looked at it all and I'm like, I'm not going to say anymore, but I know we could have done a lot better than what he actually ended up doing. And so it's a long-term relationship. It's not short-term. Just because you get 6-7 months, it doesn't mean that's where you're going to be in about another 3 to 4 months. You take what you can get, apply it. I'm going to double my money. I have a restaurant that I run. I'm going to open a new patio. I'm going to open up and put more tables out there, a gazebo, whatever I'm doing, that's going to attract an extra 100 to 200 people per day. So now I'm going from 20,000 to 30,000. I'm paying back 27,000 from 30,000. Then I'm going to 40, 50,000. You see what you're doing? But if you're doing 20, I'm taking 27,000 to repay back over the 7, 6, 9, 12, however many months it is, whatever you qualified for, and makes sense. But you're rebuttaling. Well, it's because you're not cash flow positive. You're just trying to pay off a lot of debt. It's business operational expenses and justifying growth and expansion. Whatever you're using it won't multiply, or it won't really help you. That's why there's a lot of friction. And I can help you dissolve all of that and help you understand. I'm not going to pressure you. If it doesn't make sense, what do we do to make it make sense? You don't just shut down. Okay, thank you, Michael. Bye. You don't know how many people do that. You're a closed-minded business owner / entrepreneur. Now, not all business owners are entrepreneurs. Not all entrepreneurs are business owners, because they still have to sort things out that they haven't gone to. So if you put yourself in my shoes, I see all of these things because I've personally worked on myself. I do it every day. In business, I manage my cash flow appropriately. I know where I have to invest different opportunities and if it makes sense. I'm not being bashful. I'm not saying this to be aggressive or negative if this is the first time you're seeing me. This is some tough love. For what, 20 minutes we've been on here, and I'm going to close up here before 30 minutes. You really have to play this game the right way. Think about it as a chess match. You're not playing checkers. You're in chess now. Whether you know how to play the game or not, you'll learn it. And if you're going to get to that checkmate, what are the individual things you need to do with your pawns? What do you need to release out first to get in return? You have to be willing to forego your opportunity of cost economically, personally, to get what you want. Isn't that not right? So if anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. And then if you guys would like to see more of these unsecured financing options like the merchant cash advance between 3 to 24, sometimes 3 to 36 months, you're going to see medium to high rates, usually with most unsecured financing options. You also have the line of credit, unsecured. I'll leave this for you down below in the description. You can get quick, fast, flexible funding in and out of the door, hassle-free. Let's make it that way. Let's not create a lot of friction with one another. I'll communicate with you. I'm there. I'm punctual. If you don't think I am, you should just see who I've emailed over and over today. This individual, not one, but multiple. You're just sending me information. You haven't even done what I've asked of you. Are you? And I asked them at the end, are you still interested in getting funding? And if not, just tell me no. Seriously, that's what I said. Because you shouldn't be coming back to me after 2 weeks saying the same thing over and over again. If you're busy, that's not an excuse. It's not enough. If we're important for you enough, you would make time for it and energy for it. You wouldn't come to me and say, you kept sending me the email here. Or you kept sending me. No, enough. You're not a little baby. You're not a little kid. You're an adult. What do adults do? They figure it out. And so you may even have an email sitting in there. And if it isn't, I'll get back to you. I'll want to get on the share screen very quickly before I do close up shop here. You are very welcome. Appreciate you. And just keep in mind while we're going through this on the share screen, all the stuff you guys need is down below in the description. So all these unsecured financing options. I know I didn't show you guys a specific everybody's like, what's a specific program? Everybody has a different lender. I can't just say, hey, go apply here. And then guess what? Now they have your information. Now they can go and shop you. Now they can go and do whatever they want, whether they're safe and secure or not. The thing is, even if they're very secure, like I work with the best that are most secure, I've vetted them, they have your information now pulled. They can go ahead and market to you or email you over and over. But were they the best one to go to? You don't know. What if this person over here was supposed to look at your file instead of the one over here? So stop with this whole I'm going to apply, spray, and pray method. And that's what I say to that, Cedric, is I'm not going to say a specific lender or a program, but all of that is down below in time when I upload this, when you guys see it finally on the replay. It'll be in the description. But let me jump into this share screen. And again, just to reiterate the point, outside of the SBA loan, you did not get approved or you're looking for an alternative because the SBA isn't everything. Let's be honest. Whether you can get approved for it, it doesn't always make sense. It's not always in the best interest for you. Maybe you're just trying to get bridge funding or trying to get bridge funding in the meantime before you get approved for that SBA loan or that process that you're going into. So there are other steps. 1 second. So what I would like from you guys, if you haven't done this yet, this may look familiar to plenty of you. I have this questionnaire form down below in the description that you can fill out where you can get a complete and personalized and customized email response for your best funding option and options. Plus, you'll get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to get you approved for funding much faster. So it'll look like this more or less. I won't cover all the bases, but I'll go into the thank you page. I'll show you how this works, how you can get started. More or less, it'll look that way. And again, just keep in mind, when you work with me, my standards are up here. Now, I get your standards may not be. Everybody says I have a high standard, but you don't hold yourself accountable and responsible enough to it. Or do you? Can you match this? I'm not asking that you should. I'm just saying where I operate from is an energy and time efficiency schedule. Now, if I'm wasting an extra sentence, an extra word with an individual, I know that right away. and I won't. If we're doing this too much, when it's obvious what the next course of action is, but it hasn't been done yet, friction. Or you specifically didn't give me a time, and that's okay. I get that. You're probably very busy. However, when these responses take forever on feedback, and then secondly, you come back to me with the same stuff, like I've been requesting this for the last week, man, or ma'am, what are you doing? Like, if you're shopping around, I understand that. However, you should be very careful about who you shop around with and give your information to. And then at that point, I get it. You're going to be all exhausted, overwhelmed. I just had to choose something. I have that happen a lot, and it doesn't work out in your favor. Unfortunately, it doesn't. There's no long-term plan behind it. The material that you're working with is outdated. Things like that just don't work well. So let me jump back into this and we'll close up. This questionnaire form is down below. I'll show you how it works. I'm going to fill it out rather quickly. Please no phone calls. And then I'm just putting random numbers in here. No, I don't have that low of a credit score. I know you guys are making fun of me for that. Do you have established business credit? I'll put yes on that one. Lowest monthly revenue. I'm just making up some random numbers just so I can show you the thank you page. Fill out something from the use of funds. You can select from any of them. I can select inventory, existing business loan, yes or no. When do you need your funds? A lot of people will put ASAP, today, tomorrow, next month. I'm just going to click some random stuff here. And please, in the additional notes, if you put expansion especially, just tell me what your expansion plan or plans are. You don't have to be as specific, but give me enough. Maybe it takes a phone call for me to hear it more to really understand what you are trying to do. But a lot of the times people don't need a phone call. It could just be right here and done, and then I'll show you what happens. So over here, we'll just put something like that, submit it, show you what the thank you page looks like. One second, I'll come back to you. And then over here it says you're all set. We received your information as well. As when I speak to we've, I usually just me. Your follow-up email is being emailed over by myself. My name is there. Also, I'll highly likely be sending you another email in response to your details submitted. Please look in all folders for it if necessary. That meaning spam, junk box, promotions tab, social main inbox, use the search feature, etc. Sometimes my emails do land in the spam in the beginning, but in the meantime, you can choose your funding option loan type, 1099 gig worker, unsecured term loan. But it's not always in the best interest to go for these. I would always recommend to do the advance in a lot of cases. Even on a different type of repayment schedule, you just have to understand that if you qualify for those unsecured term loans, to be just very careful about how much debt you go into, because it is unsecured financing. In a lot of cases, you can get completed and a lot of benefits with these advances more so than these. So it comes down to how much can you get approved for? What can you take that funding and do with? Come back and receive more funding and then move up the chain. That's what you can do. And then a lot of you just start from the very top, and you may not know this, but this is good for you to see. And then startup loans, purchasing this, I may add a little bit more to this document. So we click this one or this thank you page. And then I can get started here. There's a video of me. Usually you'll see something like this. If not, it's changed. So start now. And then boom, boom, boom. Right there, there's some extra material. See the application process, read more here. Boom, click this button. I can go ahead and get started. But make sure you go through the material. Let me move this around. Yeah, leave that out. And bring this back into view. Okay, let me come to this comment section. I think that's what holds most people from giving out their personal information, because they don't know who they're dealing with. Exactly, Cedric. You said it word for word. I can't say it any better than that. The truth be told, as you're saying, that people don't know who they are dealing with. Usually when people come to me and they see me for the first time, it's the same case. But when you are accustomed to then, hey, he's produced another video content. Oh, I've seen him on TikTok or on Instagram. And there are people out there who you can't trust even though they do that. So with me, you can trust. I have you in safe and secure hands. I will take care of you. I'll be very diligent with your file. I know which lender, what lenders to look at. And again, I vetted them, so I know who's the best in this industry and who's ethical. At the end of the day, you want that. You don't want somebody who's going to BS you and give you something, and then you're wondering, what are you doing? Now your information is scattered, and then the third party has it. And then you're like, no, my I have this. I have people who have their social security numbers like causing fraudulent activity because it's been shopped around like multiple times. I have people with credit freezes. I have people out there who just don't know what they're doing because they got themselves into this. And quite honestly, that's what, at the end of the day, if we look at the diagnosis, not the symptoms, and it hurts me to say it, and I've been there too, so just take note of that it's our fault. We have to look ourselves in the mirror and say it's our fault at the end of the day, because we're the ones who are doing it. We're the ones who are just saying, hey, I heard about some company and I'm going to go and apply, or I heard an ad or something like that, without taking a second look at it and going, is this the information that they're actually requesting, and should I actually give them my info? What are they going to do with it? Do we ask ourselves enough of that? No, we just want to find what the easiest thing is out there, and we click a link and we go and fill it out. But when there's some resistance, when there's actually some amount of education that you need, I don't want to hear it. Just send me the application. And there's people who do, and they have enough trust in me, and I'll be like, yeah, it's okay. I got you. Let me send you the description of how this all works with this lender. I'm going to send you the link, the application, usually digitally. Sometimes there's a hard copy, or I'll ask for the bank statement so that I can forward them over to the lender, or you can upload them into the safe portal that we have. Bada boom, bada bing. Closing, done. Yes, I want the offer. Boom, ACH deposited, bank verification. That's what they do. Send it to your account. It's very legit. Done. All right, good. Move on with my day. Helped you out. I'll follow up with you. See how there's no friction created? But when there's this whole back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, like 100 million times, you don't want that, do you? You are welcome. I'm not going to cut around the bush. Other people go, why is he raising his tone? This is tonality. This is a transfer of tough love, transfer of this is what you have to get through to yourself. However many times you have to hear it. Okay, not to go too far now. I've gone on a tangent for quite a bit. Recapping, how to get an SBA 7A loan alternative up to $5 million fast without collateral, no hard credit checks, bad credit is acceptable. These are the funding solutions. The unsecured term loan, the merchant cash advance, the line of credit. There's a few other ones out there. You can talk about personal loans / startup loans, even equipment financing with most programs. And there's quite a few other ones. Even an SBA 7A loan, they might not take collateral, but they want to know what you have, if any, and is cash flow strong enough to service the debt. If so, that's what they'll base it off. Not every lender will. Some others will want to see assets. What kind of assets? Well, an apartment complex, well, that doesn't work. Or you're going to use this funding for a real estate investment. We don't want you to use it that way. We want you to use it this way. You have to justify that the funds will be used like that so that the SBA lender can look at it and say, yes, you are deemed worthy, my son. It's like they put the sword, like, yes, you are. But a lot of us, we create too much friction. We want to go shop around. And I know it. I know it for a fact. There's even a lot of cases where people don't respond back to me. And I can attest to that being somebody shopping around. And there's more reasons. It's probably not that. It's probably that and more. But you shouldn't be. I tell people, do not shop around in the meantime. Too many open application processes, whether you have an offer or not, looks horrendous. It will cut you thin and dry later down the road. Well, I didn't like those 11 months. I didn't like that 24-month. I wanted to... Let's get real. Now, that's all I will leave you with. Look for all these options down below in the description, as well as all the other content that I released already in the past. These unsecured term loans, lines of credits, cash advances. You can even combine a couple of them, like line of credit, cash advance, term loan, line of credit. Perhaps you're looking then at other types of funding. You're like, I got a personal loan, and I'm building my business credit on the back end, and then I'm doing a credit line hybrid program. So at the end of the day, separating your personal and business credit is what you want to do. Look for my business credit video series down below for free, as well as all other information. If you got value out of this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with others who you feel will get value out of it. It can be a complete stranger, friend, or family member. I didn't say PPP, EIDL. Sorry about that. But not a lot going on there. I just released content on this the other day. The deferment's a bit hard to do. The repayment here coming up. Make sure you're ready for it. A lot of fraudulent activity happening amongst those two. The employee retention tax credit, up to $26,000 per employee. That's only still available for a limited time. If you're in the process, get it done. Take care of it. And if you haven't, I'll speak to you if it even makes sense. But grant opportunities, I'll try to leave a document down below for all of that. Startup funding, non-startup funding. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future videos I will be coming out with. And that's it for today. Take care. Bye.